Unfortunate, sad. Like this should be a celebration, right? I mean, he won a major championship at 50 years old. It was, possibly his last, big moment in the game of golf, and he should be there. I think he should be here this week and celebrating what a monumental achievement he achieved last year. So it's unfortunate, it's sad, and yeah, I mean, I don't know what else I can say.
Question on 13.
Yeah, Rory, you said at Augusta that,
hi, Kyle.
What's up, Rory? You said at Augusta that you talked about sort of staying in it early on in a major to kind of make your way into potentially winning it, and yet all four of your wins have been kind of from out in front early on. How do you kind of reconcile those two things with getting out to a big lead versus as a more experienced golfer trying to stay in it?
Yeah, I think the four wins. I don't think you can plan. You can't plan on getting out ahead. That's just something that happens if you play well and you get some momentum, and you're sort of feeling it. So it's not as if I went out with the mindset those four tournaments of I'm going to go out and shoot 65 the first 2 days and let them all come and catch me. It just sort of happened. So, and I think over the past few years, the things that have stopped me from getting in contention or being able to win these majors is big numbers and shooting myself out of it sort of early. And I can even think back to Augusta. I finished 3 behind in the end, and I went bogey, double bogey on 10 and 11 on Friday. You go par there, and all of a sudden there's those 3 shots. So it doesn't take much in major championships to it's tiny margins. And yeah, look, I'd love to go out those weeks and get a lead and build on it, but that unfortunately isn't going to happen all the time. So I think the most consistent way to get yourself to be able to have chances to win these major championships is to sort of adopt that conservative strategy. And Tiger did it most of his career, and okay, he had a couple of huge wins in there, but a lot of times being conservative with his strategy, letting other guys make the mistakes. Pars are pretty good in major championships, and that's sort of the philosophy that I believe in going forward.
Question on 9.
Rory, I just wonder whether you saw Greg Norman's comments last week. We all make mistakes and all of that, and what you thought about it.
We do all make mistakes, but it was I think Greg is in a very tough position because he's taken the role of being the leader of something that is very divisive. And Greg can sit with the media for 5 hours and give 4 hours and 50 minutes of pretty good answers, and the 10 minutes that he maybe drops his guard is what's going to be picked up on. So I just think he's in a no-win situation, and he's made that decision himself, and he has to deal with the questions that are being thrown at him, and it's certainly not a position that I'd like to be in.
Mike 3.
Rory, you spent some time around Tiger the last year and a half and seen what he's had to go through. Is any part of you surprised that he's actually here this week?
No, not really. I mean, I think, yeah, I don't know, it's been 6 weeks or so since Augusta. So 6 weeks is a long enough time to recover from that week and then build yourself back up again. And he certainly hasn't chosen 2 of the easiest walks in golf to come back to Augusta and here. So, but no, I mean, he's stubborn, he's determined, this is what he lives for. He lives for these major championships, and he's, if he believes he can get round 18 holes, he believes he can win.
Mike 9.
Hi, Rory. Just wondering if you can just sum up sort of the level of confidence you have in your game right now after the Masters and Wells Fargo. Just how confident are you feeling going into the week?
I feel good about my game. I've done some good work, and I've let, one of the things that I've tried to work on and I've done well. I've led greens in regulation the last 2 tournaments I've played. That's something that hasn't quite been there. And that's something you need to do, especially around here. You hit greens here, you're gonna give yourself birdie chances. The targets are pretty small, pretty limited with where the hole locations will be. So you hit it into the middle of the greens here, you're going to have decent chances. So I'm feeling pretty good about that part of the game. And then short game's been there as well. I mean, I focused a lot on iron play and chipping and putting last week in practice, because I knew that was basically that's sort of going to be the key to having a good week this week. So I feel good about it all, and I'm certainly in a better place with my game than where I was this time last year going into Kiowa. So I'm happy about that.
Microphone 5.
Rory, we saw the emotion at the Ryder Cup. I'm just curious how big of a motivation that was for you over the off season and maybe at the start of this year as well.
Yeah, it was a big turning point. I had an awful week at the Ryder, an awful couple of days anyway. And then I sort of freed my mind up and played better in the singles and got that win against Xander. And that sort of gave me a little bit of confidence. And then I built on that and got the win in Vegas in the fall. And then I've played pretty consistently, good golf since then. So it was a big turning point for me. I went down a path that I thought was going to help, make some improvements, and it didn't quite work out that way. So just went back to basics and went back to trying to figure out what I did well and just keep doing that. And it's been good. I've played, pretty consistent golf since then. I think I dropped out of the top 10 at some point during that period, and then I've got myself back up there and sort of working my way back up. So it's been a good few months.
And then real quick, I just wanted to piggyback off his question about the iron game and strokes gained approach. What specific things have you been working on technically with your irons?
Flighting it down a little bit, getting comfortable taking a club more and hitting it easy. Left pins is something that hasn't been a strong suit of mine this year. That sort of showed up in the stats. So trying to practice a little more to left pin positions and trying to get comfortable with shots I'm trying to hit in. And that's really it. I sort of, you just hit a ton of balls and you sort of figure it out.
Microphone 12, please.
Rory, it's a little while since you made your sort of dead in the water comment about the Saudi series. Do you think that's still the case, or do you think it's gathering momentum?
Yeah, I might have been a little presumptuous at that point. It seems like it's still going, and Greg and everyone behind it are very determined. And I think we're just going to have to see how it plays out. Guys are going to make decisions, and honestly, it's going to shape the future of professional golf one way or another. So I think we're just going to have to see how it all shakes out.
Microphone 8, please.
Hey, Rory. I'm curious, during a week when the temperature is just like really hot, probably losing a bit more weight than usual, do you do anything different to get your body in preparation for a week like this? And if so, what?
Yeah, I've tried to, I got a little light after Augusta. Like I always lose a bit of weight there, but I've tried to put on some weight since then. Probably put on like 10 pounds since the Masters. Not all muscle, probably a little bit of excess fat in there somewhere too. Diet hasn't been quite as disciplined as I've wanted it to be, but it's decent that, when you have, and I have a long stretch, I'm playing 5 in the next 6 weeks. So, it's, to have a little bit in reserve and sort of that extra energy stores and stuff is never a bad thing. And I always notice when I do put a bit of weight on, my speed goes up. So that's something that I guess is an added benefit.
And how much weight do you usually use during a week like this? Do you keep track or?
Not really. not really. I usually have to go up one notch in the belt at the end of the week, but nah, I mean, maybe 5 pounds.
Over here on mic 4, please.
Rory, you mentioned watching the Friday video, the digest flyover. This is kind of a geeky process question, but like, what happens then? Do you call Harry and talk through it? Do you call Michael and say, what are we going to work? This is what we're going to work on.
Yeah, I sent the links to Harry and just like, here, just have a look at these. And yeah, I mean, it's just trying to get a feel for, you know, I was maybe going to come up here last week and I had a couple things going on, so I couldn't make it. So I just wanted to try to get some info, you know, before coming up here, just so I had a little idea what was going on. It actually, I was saying to someone yesterday, the flyovers, the course looked much tighter than when you get out here. There's actually, I feel like it sort of opens up for you off the tee a little bit, and I didn't expect to hit as many drivers as I actually did yesterday.
In the back on 13, please.
Hi, Roy. Is not having come here before yesterday and not having seen the course, is it an example of just trying to not overthink this stuff?
I think so. You know, I've won a couple of major championships where I've played 9 holes on Tuesday, 9 holes on Wednesday, and sort of teed it up and played really well. Sometimes not knowing where the trouble is ignorance is bliss in some ways, and I'll take execution over preparation any day. You know, if you're executing the shots and you're hitting the ball well, and you know the ball's looking where you're going, that's more than half the battle. So, and I feel like I'm executing well, but it doesn't mean you're not preparing or looking at things. I think these greens require a little more time spent on them than some others. So, but I think strategy off the tee and into the greens is pretty simple, and then it gets a little more nuanced whenever you get on and around the greens.
Over here on 12, please.
Rory, keeping on that note, you say ignorance can be bliss. What are some of those elements that you might not really be able to identify until you're out there Thursday, Friday, Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to practice from every bunker around the greens. You're not going to chip balls from every single side of a green. But you have a decent idea of, you just, for the most part, can't miss the ball above the hole here because the greens are slopey, and there's quite a pitch from back to front on a lot of them. So even just stuff like that, not getting past pin high on some holes, and you have a general idea of where the good miss is or where to leave it. But you're going to encounter some stuff during the 4 days of play that you haven't prepared for, hitting it, missing it one side of a green instead of another, or just, things happen. We're human. We're not going to hit every shot perfectly. So, but that's the great thing about our game. You have to adapt to these things and adapt to conditions. Even like the wind forecast this week, we're going to have nearly 4 different winds for 4 days. So just stuff like that you're not going to be able to play the golf course in every single wind direction. So you're just sometimes going to have to adapt on the fly.
Welcome to Oklahoma.
Thank you.
Microphone 8, please.
Yeah, Rory, you mentioned, we're going to have to see kind of how this all plays out and reshapes professional golf. Is there a good, clean resolution at this point? Is there something that you're rooting for?
Honestly, I'm rooting for it all to be over. I'm just so sick of talking about it, and I've made my decision and I know where I want to play, and I'm not standing in anyone's way, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't go over there and play. If that's what they feel is right for them, then 100% they should go and do it. I'm certainly not wanting to stand in anyone's way, but I think the sooner it all happens and the sooner everything shakes out, I think we can all just go back to not talking about it and doing what we want to do.
2 more questions, please, on mic 6.
Rory, we saw you out with Brad Faxon yesterday. What were you working on with Brad?
Not much. He's up here doing some stuff for Golf Channel and for Sky, and he just walked a few holes. We didn't really talk about much. He watched me hit a couple of putts and sort of give me the okay on the stroke, and that was really it. It wasn't too much.
Mic 5.
Rory, with the course having so much changes since the tour last came here, is there any asking any of the more veteran players who played here before about any advice, or is it pretty much a clean slate just because of all those changes?
I think it's a clean slate. It's actually, I was hitting balls beside Tom Gillis at the Bears Club over the weekend, and he played the senior PGA here last year. So he gave me a couple little things to look out for, or maybe a couple of greens to spend extra time on, stuff like that. But yeah, I think it's 07 was a completely different golf course that you'd really just want to talk to the guys that played last year here in the senior PGA to get a better feel of how the golf course plays.
Final question on 9.
Rory, regret might be too strong a word, but I was just wondering, do you ever wish you weren't involved in the Player Advisory Council? You actually knew a little bit less and could just get on with your own career, make your own decisions?
In fairness, the pack is fine because it's a very high overview of what's going on, and there's 4 or 5 meetings a year. Being on the board is different, and there's maybe a few more calls that I've been on than I would have expected to be on whenever I took the role up. But yeah, again, that ignorance is bliss. It's nice to be in the know, but at the same time, sometimes it's nice not to know. So, but I'm trying to do the right thing for the PGA Tour and the PGA Tour members because that's what I was elected to do. So, I'm trying to do that to the best of my ability. But there's people on that board that are a lot smarter than I am that are going to make the ultimate decision.
Welcome to Tulsa.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rory.